Endowed professorships at the University of Hong Kong are created to provide perpetual support to areas of academic excellence. It is also a privileged honor bestowed upon our academics. It is a particularly significant moment today as this university was born 100 years ago. And as we celebrate our centenary, now more than ever, we are committed to the values of knowledge, heritage, and service. The endowed professorships represent our promise to contribute to humankind. With the inauguration today, we shall have a total of 66 endowed professorships established since the year 2005. May I now present the Sun Chi-Ye Heart Foundation Professorship in Cardiovascular Therapeutics.
The main focus of my research is in cardiovascular therapeutics, which is to do with the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. And I think a key way is to identify the risk factors early and try to intervene early. The existing drugs for the treatment of hypertension are not ideal. Most patients will require 2-3 drugs to control their blood pressure, and even so, many patients cannot have their blood pressure well controlled. So part of my research is to look at new drugs, but also how to use existing drugs better. Clinical pharmacology plays a very important part in the search for better drugs to treat hypertension and cardiovascular disease.
Clinical pharmacology is a scientific discipline to investigate the safety and the efficacy of medicine. In the Hong Kong University, we have the Division of Clinical Pharmacology. They do precisely that kind of research work to ensure we have the best medicine for our patients.
This endowment means a lot because, after all, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in Hong Kong as well as in other parts of the world. It will enable a steady stream of funding to support my research, some of which is very long-term.
I invite Dr. Dennison and Professor C.P. Lau to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Sun Chi-Ye Heart Foundation Professor in Cardiovascular Therapeutics, Bernard M.Y. Zheng.
My research is on the history of Chinese medicine in the modern period, both as social history and as the process of knowledge construction in the modern period. The social history of Chinese medicine is important because it studies how society in the past experienced, explained, and managed diseases and epidemics such as smallpox, leprosy, and so on, many of which were global phenomena that could be observed in many parts of the world. And Hong Kong has a very critical role in the management of many of these diseases in the regional and in the global context.
Researching into this field is very important because it will reflect the involvement of Chinese medicine history in modern China. So researching into the archives will let us know more about how the hospital provided the service and also the diseases that the people suffered from.
I thank the foundation for giving this endowment. I will use this endowment to further my research, train graduate students, hold conferences, and to work with interested scholars all over the world so that Hong Kong and Hong Kong University could become one of the centers for the research on the history of Chinese medicine.
I invite Dr. Peter Lee, on behalf of the East Asian History of Science Foundation, to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Joseph Needham, Philip Ma Professor in Chinese History, Science and Civilization, Angela K.C. Leung.
I've got two main areas of research. First is on health-related quality of life assessment. Second is on primary care health services research. My postgraduate students are actually working on quality of life research. Basically, is to develop and validate structured questionnaires in order to assess how illness or treatment affect people's quality of life. The second is really looking at how we can translate medicine and also medical research into daily practice. It's really how to make primary care health services more efficient, effective, and more patient-centered.
One of the underlying principles of the family medicine discipline is to be able to deliver patient-centered care. This is done through research in quality of life, which really helps us to focus on what makes a difference to patients' well-being.
I must thank the donor for appreciating and recognizing our work and sharing our values. With the additional resources, I hope that we can support more postgraduate research students and also expand our research capacity. And in the long run, we would like to also expand our teaching, research, as well as some of our service innovation into China to help China develop primary care and general practice.
I invite Mrs. Beatrice Ho to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Danny D.B. Ho, Professor in Family Medicine, Cindy L.K. Lam.
My main area of research is in upper gastrointestinal surgery. So that involves esophageal cancer, gastric cancer, a lot of ulcer disease, and other upper gastrointestinal pathologies as well. We're mainly looking at two areas in the clinical setting. Firstly, about the techniques of surgery, how we do the surgery, mainly in the areas of minimally invasive surgery. And the second major clinical area that we're interested in is how to integrate different treatment modalities, such as chemotherapy, chemoradiotherapy, and surgery in the treatment of these cancers.
Upper gastrointestinal disease, especially esophageal cancer, is a very common disease in Chinese. Advances in the treatment of this disease has actually improved not only patient survival, but also their quality of life. Most of the advances in the treatment of this disease has actually originated from Hong Kong.
I feel very deeply honored to be the recipient of this endowed professorship. I would like to thank Mrs. Zhong Gonghui and her family. To cure these cancers would be a very long-term goal, but I think at least we would be able to do a lot of research on understanding of these cancers and to improve the prognosis of these very poor patients.
I invite Madam Chin Ang Hong to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Zhong Kong Hai, Professor in Gastrointestinal Surgery, Simon Y.K. Law.
My main area of research is in the minimal invasive surgery. Nowadays, with the advances in the surgical technique and technology,
Many of the operations can be performed through keyholes instead of long incisions. This improves significantly the postoperative recovery of the patients and reduces the incision-associated complications. We try to look into the futures of minimally invasive surgery with the objective to perform an operation without a scar, as well as to do an operation more precisely with the surgical robot. I tried to develop natural orifice surgery in order to further minimize the surgical access. I am also interested in doing robotic surgery and assess its application in human beings.
Surgical innovation and technology has resulted in the rapid advancement of minimally invasive surgery over the last 2 decades. This is an important field not only improving the patient's quality of care, but also in surgical education and training.
I would like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Zheng for their kind donations so that I can continue my research in the field of minimally invasive surgery to develop new and innovative procedures and to improve the outcome of our patients.
I invite Mrs. Ang Chong to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. I present Anthony and Ann Chong, Professor in Innovative and Minimally Invasive Surgery, Law Wai Lun.
China marketing is one of the most challenging and exciting in all marketing areas in the world today, both professionally and academically. My research focuses on international marketing, China marketing, and services marketing. In China marketing, I'm looking at branding strategies. In addition, I also look at channels, how Guanxi and other things enter into formation of good channels. State-owned enterprise is another area that the world has yet to continue to understand, and my research also touches on that. Part of the research outcome comes from databases and things that firms and other companies can use in exploration and understanding of China that would help them formulate their strategies.
This field of China marketing is certainly very important, and particularly with the rising of China. And in the last few years, there are a lot more researchers working in this area, trying to develop indigenous theory regarding marketing in China. And Hong Kong U is one of the leading institutions on this area of research.
I especially thank Mr. Joseph Wong for giving this generous gift and an honor to me. There are projects that need continuous funding. It would be very crucial to build up those momentum and databases for the future work.
I invite Mr. Joseph Wong to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Stella Professor in Marketing, David K.C. Jie.
My main area of research is on liver disease, particularly in Hong Kong with chronic hepatitis B infection. In fact, it's a very important disease all over the world. Over 400 million people are infected with chronic hepatitis B infection. And in fact, 75% of these carriers are in Asia. I'm studying the virology, immunology, and the clinical outcome of patients with chronic hepatitis B disease. What I'm aiming at today is to find a treatment that can suppress the virus and then reduce the chance of development of complications from the disease. And that is liver cancer and also cirrhosis.
Chronic hepatitis B is an extremely prevalent disease, especially among the Asians. It is important for us to understand the natural history as well as the basic science of this disease in order to cure the patients and hopefully prevent the development of liver cancer and cirrhosis of the liver.
I would like to take this chance to thank Dr. Walton Lee, who initiated the establishment of this new endowed professorship. On behalf of my research team, I would like to say that I will make sure every single unit of the support from the endowment fund will be converted to double, triple, or even quadruple units of research output.
I invite Dr. Walton Lee to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. I present Li Shufan Medical Foundation Professor in Medicine, Yun Man Fong.
My research is based on my training as a pathologist, and I want to understand the mechanism of disease, and I'm particularly interested in cancer, and I try to use genomics approach, understanding the mutations in the genes in the cancer, so as try to know why a cell become cancer, how it invade and kill a patient.
Cancer research has always been a major focus of the Department of Pathology, and nowhere is it more important than to understand the cancer genome. It is through understanding the genetic makeup of cancer can we begin to find new ways to prevent or control or cure the disease.
Finding new mutated genes would help to develop drugs specifically target those genes, and that could have a much higher efficacy and lower side effect. And in terms of a cancer prevention, if we know what genes are inherited in those families that lead to a high risk of cancer development, we can institute regular measures preventing them from developing cancer. First, I want to thank the Cultural Foundation for this donation. I'm also honored to be the Professor Gan Yue Endowed Chair because Professor Khan has shown us the role model of how our clinician can embrace science and make major discovery that can improve patient care. And I will continue his path and hope to benefit society and the patient.
I invite Professor Y.W. Khan to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Y.W. Khan Professor in Natural Sciences, Leung Shik Yi.
The establishment of this professorship at the University of Hong Kong in memory of Mr. Ng Chun Man aims to commemorate Mr. Ng's passion for structural innovation for the benefits of the society.
I invite Mrs. Ella Ng to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Professor S.P. Chow, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Chair of Orthopedics and Traumatology, will represent the university to receive a certificate.
My main area of research in clinical aspect is related to surgical management of arthritic conditions. In basic research, it is related to cartilage and pathogenesis of osteoarthritis. Joint replacement surgery basically is related to arthritic conditions of the hips, knees, elbows, and shoulders. And these are the joints that we commonly offer artificial joint replacements. But we think perhaps it is better to prevent the arthritic conditions from developing. So our research, especially the basic research, are more towards the pathogenesis, in other words, how to prevent or to decrease the incidence of arthritic conditions in Hong Kong.
I think this is a very important research now done by Hong Kong U, because we're collecting data from Chinese people, which is inadequate in literature around the world. And we know that Chinese people is different from Caucasian, so the information on Chinese patients are very valuable to us.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Li Shu Feng Medical Foundation in awarding me with this prestigious professorship. With the help of the donor, I think we can do a lot more meaningful research with regard to cartilage and also the pathogenesis of osteoarthritis.
I invite Dr. Walton Lee again to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Li Shu Feng Medical Foundation Professor in Orthopedic Surgery, Peter K.Y. Chu.
Degenerative conditions of the spine are very common, not only in Hong Kong but in the whole world. My main area of research is in degenerative spinal conditions. We try to understand the cause of degeneration as well as look for new methods of treating and possibly even curing degeneration. We have, from our research, collected one of the biggest degenerative disc disease cohort in the world, and using this we have been able to use both genetics and molecular biology approaches to understand the cause and mechanism of degeneration.
Well, this piece of research is trying to crack the myth or challenge the conventional belief that degeneration of the spine is unavoidable as one grows older. Through international collaboration, we have now been able to put Hong Kong and Hong Kong U in particular in the leading position in these areas of research in the world.
Through our understanding of the cause of degeneration, we hope to develop new strategies to treat degeneration, and that would include, for instance, the use of stem cells and regenerative medicine strategies that would allow us to stop degeneration really before it occurs. I'd like to thank Mr. George Ho for committing to this endowed professorship in spine surgery. Through his generous donation, I hope that we can eliminate the suffering and disability as a result of back pain.
I invite Mr. George Ho to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Jesse Ho, Professor in Spine Surgery, Kenneth M.C. Chong.
I'm working on an influenza evolution study. We organized a surveillance network in southern China and certainly in Hong Kong. So we are checking the virus, what is in those animals. By long-term surveillance in human and animal side, we understand the virus emerging from animal getting into human. During the SARS outbreak, we are the first team in the world, and at the earliest time, get involved to investigate the etiology and where the SARS come from. From that time to now, it seems the SARS is fully under control.
Many of the recent major outbreaks worldwide have been caused by viruses, and there have been new viruses that have crossed species to humans. Examples are avian flu, SARS, Nipah virus in Malaysia. So research to understand how these viruses jump species from animals to humans and spread from humans to humans, I think is one of the most fundamental research questions today.
I would like to thank my donor, Daniel Yu. This endowment can make me continue my work on the research of the emerging virus and so make our world safe.
I invite Mr. Daniel Yu to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Daniel C.K. Yu, Professor in Virology, Guanyi.
My current research topics include sustainable lighting technology, wireless power transfer, and renewable energy technology for future power systems. We have pioneered wireless charging technology, which has led to the formation of the world's first wireless charging standard, Qi. Qi is invisible force in Chinese. And now this technology has been adopted by the International Wireless Power Consortium, comprising over 100 companies worldwide. By setting a common charging protocol for the whole world, we hope we can reduce hundreds of millions of charges each year.
Power electronics is a key research area in electrical and electronic engineering. It plays a very important role in such emerging disciplines as wireless charging, and also helps save the environment in terms of research in smart grids, electric vehicles, and the reduction of electronic waste.
I would like to thank Dr. Philip Wong and Dr. Wilson Wong for their kind generosity in supporting the University of Hong Kong. Please be assured that your donation will be faithfully used for enhancing the research activities in the area of energy saving, environmental protection, and renewable energy research. We'll do our best to maximize the global impacts of our research based on your donation.
I invite Dr. Philip Wong and Dr. Wilson Wong to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Philip K.H. Wong, Wilson K.L. Wong, Professor in Electrical Engineering, Ron S.Y. Hui.
Internal medicine is a core medical discipline. The undergraduates need to learn enough medical knowledge in order to tackle the various medical diseases. All of us will get some sort of medical diseases in our lifetime. And so it's very important for us to maintain a high quality medical service and medical standard, both in terms of the clinical performance as well as the academic performance. As the Chief of Clinical Service of the Department of Medicine at Queen Mary Hospital, I'm responsible to make sure that we deliver high-quality clinical service, as well as overseeing the training of younger doctors, both in terms of their basic physician training and also that they can proceed smoothly to their high physician training.
Internal medicine is fundamental. All physicians, before they take on another specialty, would have to undergo training in internal medicine and become a physician.
I would like to thank the donors on behalf of not only myself, but also the people who come after me. This visionary endowment not only benefits a medical subspecialty, but for internal medicine as a whole. And this is what we treasure, that we must maintain a high-quality clinical as well as research performance in internal medicine.
I invite Professor Richard Yu to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present Yu Chu Guang, Professor in Medicine, Daniel T.M. Chan.
My research focuses on the disease mechanism of diabetic nephropathy, whereby proteinuria and also different diabetic substrates, such as high glucose, would induce kidney disease. In clinical research, I look at the treatment of IgA nephropathy, which is also the commonest cause of primary kidney disease worldwide. Half of the patients in Hong Kong and also in developed countries have diabetic nephropathy as the primary cause of end-stage kidney disease that require dialysis or transplantation. So it would be important to understand the disease mechanism, and by understanding disease mechanism, we can hopefully find more cure for this condition.
We are facing an increasing incidence and prevalence of patients with diabetic nephropathy as the leading cause of end-stage renal disease. The importance of the research in this domain from bench to bedside cannot be emphasized enough for the benefits of patients with chronic kidney disease of today and of the future.
Well, I would like to thank my donor for the very kind and generous donation. And with this donation, we hope that we can make good use of it and advance knowledge and also research findings in this area. With this research, we would hope that eventually we could advance the treatment of diabetic nephropathy and reduce the number of patients who would require dialysis therapy as a result of this condition.
I invite Professor Richard Yu again to receive the Certificate of Appreciation from the Council Chairman. Council Chairman, I present you Professor in Nephrology, Sydney C.W. Tang.